Here we go again. Same old ish, dog. It's a different day. The Gervonta Davis haters, they are out in full effect. I swear it to you. It sounds like Gervonta Davis has his next assignment, and the haters cannot stand it. Find out all the details in this video. Get it. Now, I don't even know how long this video is going to be because it's really a waste of my time. There is so much low quality content available online in the boxing realm that it's not even funny. Bad audio, bad visual quality, people rushing out videos, saying whatever, clickbait, short videos to just get something out. Everybody's in a frenzy. It really makes me wonder, like, do some of the people even like boxing, right? And Gervonta Davis, as we know, him and Canelo, they are definitely the faces of boxing. So it's only right that everybody talks about Gervonta Davis. The WBA has approved Lamont Roach Jr. for basically he's in a lighter division than Tank Davis, but he's a champion. So they're giving him an opportunity to fight Tank in a lighter division and still remain a champion in his current division of 130, right? And that's where it looks like it's headed. For me, I told you I need to hear it from Tank just because it's just better that way. There's been so many lies and rumors regarding Gervonta Davis. I really just prefer to hear the news from him particularly. That's just me personally. And without fail, the news broke that this could be Gervonta Davis. This is a rumored opponent for Gervonta Davis. And, you know, the usual suspects are already complaining and hating on the fight. Listen, you can listen to me, the best in the business, and it's not even close, or you can listen to Brand X. Shut up. That's my quote. And please print that. Shut up. Gervonta Davis just fought a ranked Frank Martin. That's for starters. So a guy in his division, a guy who's bigger than him, a guy who's a great fighter, and he just knocked him out with 2 punches, right? So he's already fought this year. This is just a closing the year fight for Gervonta Davis. That's one. 2 is we know for a fact that Lamont Roach was not the initial target. In fact, he wasn't the first. He wasn't the second. He wasn't even the third. He was probably like the 5th option of opponents that they went through trying to find Tank an opponent. And, you know, his number possibly got called. You know, we're still waiting for it to be confirmed as of me recording this video, right? Guys like Vasily Lomachenko, a respected name, a name that holds some weight in the division. He had a good performance with Kambosos. But guess what? Lomachenko says he can't be bothered. He was in negotiations, deep negotiations with PBC. The haters and the usual suspects said that Tank in the past had ducked Lomachenko. So this is your golden opportunity to fight him. What does Lomachenko do? Says he's not in the mood to fight this year. So you were in the mood to fight George Kambosos, who really lost to Maxie Hughes, if we're being honest, in his last fight before he fought Lomachenko. You were in the mood to do that because you knew you could beat him, and he did, and he stopped him. Now, all of a sudden, when it comes to Tank, after you've seen what he did to Frank Martin, now Lomachenko don't want to come outside and play. But then Lomachenko goes to whatever fight that was, Canelo Munguia or whatever that was, and then he says he wants to have a street fight with Shakur Stevenson. These are the facts. So you weren't in the mood to fight Tank and get paid millions of dollars to do it and put on for boxing a sensational end-of-the-year fight with 2 of the greatest southpaws in this generation. But you want to have a free street fight with Shakur Stevenson because you don't like what he was saying about you, because he was saying you were ducking or whatever, and you guys sat by each other. So that's just one option. Other guys like El Rayo, I mean, he says he's not fighting on those dates. He was in a 5-month camp. He beat Pitbull Cruz, and he said he wasn't coming back. Plus, as the B-side, he says he wants to fight at 140. He's a career 135 pounder, and you don't get that option. That's just the reality of it. How come how come Jermell Charlo didn't tell Canelo what weight to fight at, or get a catch weight, or anything that would benefit him in the slightest? Because it's the Canelo show. He's the A-side. Jermell wanted to fight. You got to fight on his terms, which was, for Jermell, he had to pop up 2 weight classes from 54 to 68. But you guys don't want to talk about that because you're some bums. The double standards are wicked. So El Rayo, we've already went over that. He said he's not available. He had a long camp and he wants time off. Pitbull lost to El Rayo, so that kind of hurt the Tank rematch right there. And again, they went through different guys. Lamont Roach is actually bigger than Gervonta Davis anyway, which some of you guys, since you don't know about boxing, you don't know that. So Lamont Roach has a great record, former Golden Boy guy, 25, 1-1, right? He's 5'7", so he's definitely taller than Tank, 5'7". Yes, he would have to move up in weight, similar to Hector Luis Garcia, but he's a champion in the previous division, right? And it's funny because in November of last year, Lamont Roach fought Hector Luis Garcia after Tank had knocked him out, and then he dropped Garcia in the 12th round and beat him cleanly. And I remember people were saying, oh, this win ages badly for Gervonta Davis, right? This is what they were claiming. They said, oh, Gervonta, his win aged poorly with Hector Luis Garcia because of what Lamont Roach did. Now the guy that beat him, he's down to fight him too, and they have an amateur history together. They fought in the amateurs. So the guy, they said the win aged badly because Lamont Roach beat Hector Luis Garcia, which is a guy that Tank had already knocked out, and Lamont Roach looked good in that fight. They said, oh, look, this win looks horrible. Now he's fighting the winner, and they say I hate the fight, it's a problem, and blah, blah, blah. The other thing is, there was this notion that Tank don't want to fight black fighters. If he fights Lamont Roach, that'll be his second black fighter in a row. So the haters, they're just looking for anything to complain about. They said he don't want to fight black fighters, and then fights Frank Martin and then Lamont Roach. Keep in mind, as I've stated earlier, Lamont Roach was like his 4th, 5th option, right? So it's dead for all the, oh, he don't want to fight black fighter stuff. This is what the haters are saying. They said, oh, Tank, he just want to fight slow Latinos and flat-footed Latinos. Okay, so he's not about the, Lamont Roach can fight, and he's bigger than Tank. And he's not a slow, flat-footed plotter, you know what I mean? And then people still complaining. And again, I'm not tripping. This is Tank's second fight. I'm sure he has big fights in store for 2025. They're talking about putting the fight in Houston, which is about to be lit. Tank spends a lot of time in Houston. Houston is a great market. I've covered fights in Houston. They were even thinking about putting the Frank Martin fight in Houston, but they opted not against it. So I know for a fact Tank is hitting these different markets, which is brilliant. A lot of you guys don't see the vision because you're dumb and you don't understand how boxing works. Notice they're putting Tank, they don't just notice a lot of these other promoters, they get a black fighter and they just stuff them where they from. Shakur, all his fights in Newark. Eddie Hearn gets Jerron Boots Ennis. He's doing back-to-back Philly fights. Terrence Crawford, just stick him in Omaha. That's not a way to build a fighter, because you got to understand that the fighter is already popping and respected at home. Terrence Crawford is adorned in Nebraska. Like, Omaha's that's his deal. That's his spot. Shakur is from Newark, right? Jerron, Philly already loves him. You got to spread them to different markets and get them popping elsewhere. So I love this. I love this. I love it a lot. Houston is, again, a great area. I'm sure it's going to have a good undercard and things like that. The haters are going to complain. And here's the other thing. Brand X, there's a lot of people, they were speculating saying that Tank was fighting against El Rayo in November, and people complained about that. So you complain about a career 135 pounder who's a champion at 140, right? And you complain about the El Rayo fight. That doesn't happen because Rayo needs more time. And then now you're complaining about this fight. So you just want to complain. That's what that means. You just down to complain, no matter who it's going to be. If it ain't like one of two names that you want to see, then you're just going to complain. So we're not for it. How come Brand X, why won't they just stop talking about Tank? Leave the Tank videos to me and Ellie Sekbeck. How about that? There's a lot of content creators who they don't like the way Tank's been moved. They hate his resume. They don't really seem to say anything positive about him. Okay, leave it to me and Ellie Sekbeck. We'll provide the Tank coverage in the digital space. And whoever else, Fight Hub and Fight Hype or whatever, because I never really see them say anything bad about Tank. You know what I mean? How about that? Let's just do it like that. Like it's like me not liking Little Caesars pizza, which I don't. And then I talk about Little Caesars pizza every day. Like it's not like, let's say, politics. You can understand why like a YouTube channel would talk politics, because this is the leader of the free world, the commander in chief. So whoever becomes president has some jurisdiction to make some plays that could affect your life. But Little Caesars is one restaurant out of many. There's many other pizza options. If you don't like it, you don't like Little Caesars, there's really no need to talk about pizza. I mean, the internet is so foolish, bro. It's like you got people, they'll be like, oh, I hate BOXINGEGO. He has the worst channel. But then they watch all my videos. It's the same concept. Out of all the billions of hours of content being uploaded every single day, all the different people that make content in boxing, you keep coming to my channel to swing from my sack when you could just not be here. It's that simple. Same thing with Tank. You hate all of his fights, don't talk about him. But we know Tank is big business. So they're going to keep putting Tank in the titles for clickbait and try to make profit off of it, but all while downing it. So I love it. I'm glad he's fighting Lamont Roach. I love it. I hope it gets announced. Good job, Tank. Good job, Lamont Roach. And that's the thing, is Lamont Roach actually can fight. You know, people are like, oh, da-da-da-da. And the funny thing is, some of the guys that you might think are big fights and dangerous fights don't even really be the dangerous fights. And it'd be like a random guy, like people, like let's say Anthony Joshua. People look at Anthony Joshua like, oh, Wilder or Tyson Fury, like bigger names would be the big threats. But then he ends up losing to Daniel Dubois and Andy Ruiz, two guys that people thought that Joshua would comfortably beat, right? Or Floyd Mayweather. People, for years, they kept saying Pacquiao. I believe, They said Pacquiao was the one that could beat Floyd. And then they said Canelo could beat Floyd. And it was Maidana who gave Floyd a tougher fight than both of them, than Canelo and Pacquiao. So y'all don't really know shit about boxing. That's why I'm out. Good job, Tank and PBC. I'm going to support this fight. I like it.